Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys had an awesome weekend. I am back and trading again. Had a couple of updates to my market maker algo, and so wanted to give a quick update here on how things were going. So basically, I had a few kind of minor tweaks that I've made over the last few days to the strategy. And so, want to run kind of side by side what these changes are and how they're performing in real time. So, I've created a new spreadsheet where I can now dump all these things into and have like a pivot table that compares the versions and the coins and all that sort of stuff. So let me actually just show what the different versions are that I got going here and sort of what the difference is at a kind of a high level. So version 171, which is kind of like what I'm saying is the base version of this. I've made a number of iterations over time. I haven't really uh, documented what changes were in each one of these versions, but version 171 is kind of the original, one of the original versions that's still running that I'm using in kind of this paper trade mode and kind of comparing some of the rules of this strategy versus a couple of the newer iterations. So basically, in the 171 version, I was using a fixed base spread. So just kind of defining like what's a fixed spread that I want to quote for a particular pair, and then make adjustments to that spread into the skew of the spread, so moving bids and asks up or down based on the order book imbalance, volatility, and then short-term order flow. And what I was finding was that the more, so I had Vine and BTC kind of running in this configuration. Oh, and Ethereum as well. And what I was seeing was Ethereum, I had a very, very, very tight base spread, and Vine, I had a very wide base spread set. And the Vine, the Vine version was doing much better. I mean, it was still getting hitting its daily stop loss uh, somewhat frequently, but on the days where that wasn't happening, it was making orders of magnitude more than the Ethereum version. And what I was seeing actually was that base spread was roughly 1.5% of like the daily ATR, whereas the Ethereum base spread was like a tiny fraction of the daily ATR. So what I decided to do in the next iteration, which is version 2 here, was to make that base spread dependent on the recent volatility rather than just having it be a fixed amount. And that way I can adjust that spread if things start getting more volatile, widen that base spread and and then hopefully keep this thing in the market longer without having it hit its 3% daily stop loss. So that was really just a minor tweak to this version. Now, the reason I called it version 2.0 is because I also introduced the paper broker functionality into this version, meaning I don't have to place trades in the Paradex live account. I can place just trades in this paper broker, and the paper broker will track the profit and loss. It will handle the limit orders, the market orders, and all of that good stuff. So what this allows me to do then is just to scale this strategy to trade multiple coins now at a single go. So I can run this strategy in parallel across multiple coins and kind of compare the results of each one of these. So that was a pretty cool development. I think I've got 8 different assets now that I'm running this thing on. So the one thing that I noticed was there's this regime detection component in the strategy, which says, oh, are you in a kind of this range bound market? Are you in an uptrend or a downtrend? Now, when it goes into a trending environment, it was getting a bit defensive as far as placing any additional bids or asks. It would delay putting any new quotes out there. And then if it did put a new bid out and say a downtrending market, it would put a little further down. But what I was seeing was when the selling in these cases got really high, I was still accumulating a lot of inventory, even though I was quoting lower than I otherwise would have, or not refreshing my quotes if my bid got hit. So I said, what if instead of doing this, because the strategy seems to be doing really well in range bound markets, and so I'm thinking to myself, what if I just try to really minimize the time and the amount this thing is in the market when it goes into what I'm detecting as a trending mode. And, even though there might be money to be made in a trending mode, this thing seems to do a lot better in range bound. So if I can just minimize what it's doing in the trend mode, then maybe I'll see some better results and I won't see it hitting its daily 3% stop losses frequently. So basically what I did was I said in this new 2.1 version, okay, if we're at 25% of our max inventory that we're allowed to carry in this strategy, so not really a whole lot of inventory. If we're already at 25%, don't quote that side of the market anymore. So if we detect we're going in a downtrend mode and we're already 25% long, so like let's say we're able to carry 10 units and we're already at 3 units of that, we're just going to stop putting bids out there until we determine the trend has kind of reverted back. So just really, really trying to get cautious now in these trending regimes. Now, we still have the problem if we're 50% long, and we're in a range-bound market, and then that market goes to trending mode, we could still get rolled over here because, we're still carrying a lot of inventory, and the market goes in trending mode. We're not going to quote any more bids, but at the same time, we're still carrying a lot of inventory. So I think the next iteration is going to start paring back and trying to pare down the inventory. But I'm going to run these really 3 strategies all side by side simultaneously, just to see how if this regime detection and inventory really cutting back on the inventory, or as far as placing new bids goes, has any sort of significant impact. So that's kind of where things are at now with just the rules that I am working on. So as far as the cool pivot table that I have been working on here, so basically, I'm trading 8 different assets here. I'm just putting them all into a spreadsheet with the starting balance for the day and the ending balance of the day and the daily return. I'm basically assuming 100K account trading all of these things. I think the position sizing is too large if we assume we're trading all 8 assets at the same time, but that's the assumption I'm making right now, that we're going to be trading all 8 assets on a 100K account. So these returns, these daily returns are not what I would trade, what I would see if I was trading all 8 of these at the same time. I would basically pare back the position sizing a bit, but for the sake of comparison, it is going to get the job done. So basically, I have broken this spreadsheet out in 2 different ways. By each asset, comparing the different version numbers and what they're seeing. So we can get a side-by-side comparison of what Bitcoin is seeing, for example, between the 171, the 2.0, and the 2.1 version. So this was the total daily return summed up across all of the days, and a caveat here is I just implemented this spreadsheet like 3 days ago, so we don't have a huge sample size here. And then the average daily return of each one of these versions of the strategy. And then the cool thing about this is you can slice and dice the data. So if you wanted to take a look at one particular day, for example, you could select that day and see how the strategy performed on each asset. So basically what we're seeing so far is that the 2.1 strategy is usually has been better for than the 2.0 strategy in most of the cases here. Now we can see Vine completely crushed it today on the 2.0 strategy, almost up 6% here. But Vine is one of these ones that is very, very volatile. I was watching it over the weekend. There was like a 10% move up and then a 10% move down in like an hour. And so the strategy got blown up yesterday on that move. But in general, what I have been seeing is that the 2.1 version has been performing better. And so this is over the course of all 3 days that we're looking at here. So this is like the average daily return. And then if we want to look at all the coins together by version number, so we got like the 2.0 version here, we got all the coins listed, and we're looking at today. So today, if we just summed up the total return, we got 3.8% on the 2.0 version for about 50 basis points, almost average. But the 2.1 version completely crushed it today, 11% and up 1.4% almost. So some pretty big winners were Hype, and I don't even know what Whiff is. Like, these coins are just stupid, but there's a lot of dumb money trading them, so why not trade against that? So in the 2.0 version, yeah, Vine had a great day today, but we also saw two coins get stopped out, Doge and Hype. So very interesting here. Hype on the 2.0 version got stopped out, but on the 2.1 version, it ended up killing it. So I am very curious to see how these, as we collect some more data here, how these things are going to diverge as far as the results go. So cautiously optimistic about the comparison between 2.1 and 2.0. We'll see if this kind of trend holds. Now, it's been relatively placid the last few days compared to last week's huge amount of volatility that we had. So, as the whole trade war and tariffs and everything kind of, I'm sure we're going to resurface over the next few weeks. I'm sure we're going to get some pretty bumpy days again. But this is the kind of market that is perfect for market making, right? So you got pretty much a range-bound market. You got ups and downs, and things aren't really going crazy in either direction. So yeah, so we'll need to get some more volatile days here to stress test what ends up happening when things get crazy. So anyway, that's where things are at right now. Basically, I got my cool JSON output here from each one of the strategies, paper broker that's running, and it's just basically spitting out the numbers as far as daily profit and loss, the asset that's getting traded, the amount of inventory it's holding, the account balance at the start of the day and the current account balance, and what sort of regime that we're in at the moment, or I guess whether or not we're in a trending regime. So this is getting a little unwieldy because I've got 8 assets across 2 different versions, and then I'm still kind of running this legacy 1.7 version with Vine and BTC, but I'm probably gonna discontinue this here this week, I'm guessing. So I think one thing I'm going to do is create kind of a reporting mechanism. So I might just pump these things in directly into like a Google spreadsheet. That way I'm not having to like go through each one at a time and like type in the account balances every day to get these results, and I just like pretty dashboards too. So at some point I would like to create one of these things. But anyway, very curious to hear what you guys are working on, what you would like to see here. I'd love to take some suggestions on what you think I should add to the strategy next to kind of test it out. So the thing I love about this is now the fact I can run these strategies simultaneously or make a tweak, run it simultaneously, and basically see side by side results in real time with how the changes do. So would love to hear any suggestions on what you think should be the next thing that I add in here to give it a try, and see if it makes an improvement or not to what I got going on. So anyway, drop a comment below if you have a suggestion or just a question. Love to hear from you, and have an awesome week, guys. See you later. Bye.